Begins.
We're using the term we want to run it forward, our process and who we are.
Here we go, run it. So what's up?
Got to just continue to get these reps because they're so valuable.
Just to take another step forward is something that I always loved.
Hey, let's be great today, baby.
We setting the standard for our defense.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Training Camp Central, powered by Boeing. I'm John Boyle with Seahawks.com, joined here by Seahawks legend Bryan Walters, and we have a very special guest, a Hard Knocks director, Kaley Campen. Going to warn you all right off the bat, usually Jen Mueller's in this chair running the show, and she is not able to make it today, so we could get a little off the rails today, Bryan, but we'll have a good time.
Setting the bar low early. I like it, John.
You know, we
go.
got to keep expectations real, just in case, you know. Kaley, thank you for joining us. We obviously just watched episode 2 of Hard Knocks, a lot of fun. Tell us, I know there's, 5 directors on the show. What is your role like with each director? How does this work?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me first off. There's 5 of us directors in the field. We kind of divide and conquer. Pat Harris, who you guys had on last week, he's our lead director. And then we kind of divide and conquer, splitting up different position groups, different players we're working with, especially out on the practice field. So that way we're kind of split up and having 5 eyes trying to see everything at once. Yeah.
There's a number that keeps sticking out to me, and that is over 300 hours of film you guys go through per week. Now, I think of it as a former player. I had to dissect film, and it's a couple hours, and it was exhausting. How do you do the 300 hours? How do you split it up, and how much do you actually watch?
So kudos to our whole squad back at NFL Films. Our editing team there, they really have to go through so much footage. We have so many loggers who work overnight because of the time difference. So kudos to them. They really see a lot. But for us, we really are big on going through the day. What's the best thing that stood out from the day? Like if it's practice, if it's filming off the field, interviews, meetings, things that we know are gold that should make the show, flagging that to our editors back home to make their job a little bit easier is really that collaboration. Yeah.
An NFL team, this time of year has 90 players on the roster. You have a coaching staff. There's a million stories you could tell. How do you guys, coming into this, come up with storylines you might want to pursue, and then how much of it is let's see how it unfolds, or this is an idea we had coming in and we want to pursue it?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, I'd say. So we split up. We kind of call it character research before we get out here. I think our packet was 97 pages of research of this whole roster. So we really split that up, do a deep dive, coaches and players, so that way we really come in prepared. Who are these guys? Really, at least try to do as much research as we can, and then when we get here, we see who stands out. Derek Hall day one in his booty shorts out on the field. Can't really ignore that. So I think we do our research, but then we see who really pops out on the field and kind of chase those stories as it goes too.
It wasn't the truck that stood out. It was the booty shorts. I get it.
Tiny shorts, big truck.
Shorts, big truck. I like it. Now, do you guys ever get with an episode, let's say you're halfway through. I'm just throwing a random part out there. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, like a light bulb goes on and you totally flip the script and totally almost redo the episode because someone else had a different idea. Does that happen a lot in your meetings?
I would say, it's definitely collaboration. I would say when we really pivot is if something major happens in the field. So if a star player gets injured, something like that obviously can change the trajectory of the episode. If there's a new addition of a player, if there's a big contract signing, things like that. So really like key things that could really jump the list of, hey, these are the priority, and then something kind of groundbreaking happens, that can definitely change how the episode flows.
A lot of seasons, the teams on Hard Knocks aren't maybe the best teams in the league. They might be coming off a tough season, a lot more like, roster battles, new coaches, whatever it is. Super Bowl champ this time. Just what kind of different challenge is that for you guys to make this show, and what do you like about having the champs to cover?
Yeah, Super Bowl champs. It's awesome. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything I don't like about that.
Maybe less drama. I don't know.
It's been fun. I will say, we've gotten to do some things differently. We got to film the ring ceremony and open up the show, episode 1, with that. Haven't been able to do that before. Mm-hmm. So unique things like that. But I think coming back and being able to feature, they lost some guys in free agency. Who's going to step up? Who's going to fill those holes to maybe take it back and reach that goal again. So I think that's been unique, but definitely just celebrating the championship and coming off that's been fun.
And how's it been with the Seahawks, kind of deciding what you're able to show and what you're not able to show? How's that collaboration been?
They have been awesome.
Yeah.
It has been such a fun, flowing process. I mean, myself and Pat Harris, we watch with some of the key members, and it's just been a blast. I mean, John Schneider laughing as we watch with him. I think he loves every drone shot we put in the show. So really, like him and Coach McDonald, I know they both appreciate NFL films. They have kind of followed NFL films and what we've done for a long time. So the fact that they understand our craft and have really collaborated with us, it's been awesome so far.
We just saw what was a little bit of a hyped episode, too. Pat McAfee shouted out yesterday how good he heard it was. What did you like about the second episode? And do you like that hype, or does that feel like too much pressure on you guys?
Mixed feelings. No, I mean, we love the love, so I appreciate it a lot. I think for me, like across both episodes, us being able to show Coach McDonald and who he is. Obviously, he won the Super Bowl, but I don't know that everybody knew who he was behind the scenes. So showing the family man he is, the leader he is in this, just leading this team, I think that's been really cool. But the brotherhood, like you saw, Derek Hall and Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence, like there's that true love for one another. So I think seeing them here at the facility and the similarities they have, but then the differences of, Leonard at home planting in his garden and D Hall working on his monster truck. Those differences, it's just cool to see that like guys can be so different off the field but so similar when they're in the building.
Has anything surprised you about the team? Like what stands out the most?
That's a good question. You kind of stumped me there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the biggest surprise.
I mean, like to me, I was shocked last night when I was Leonard Williams in his garden.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about him. And I thought that was really cool. And now they're out there and all that growing. So that was surprising.
Clearly, you don't subscrib to his YouTube channel then.
I do not. I should. Should I?
Oh yeah. I mean,
learn more about it.
He's a worldly man. He's traveling. He's doing his garden. He's a man of many talents.
Oh, that's good. I need to get on that.
Honestly, where we are is surprising to me. I
Yeah.
mean, I knew Seattle is beautiful, but I've really only visited out to this facility a couple times. So like, just the place we're at, the practice field, bald eagles fly over practice every day, like the scenery of it all. I'm sure you guys are used to it, but it's been a blessing for us with that.
I know you have been really busy, but have you been able to experience the city at all?
No.
No. Okay. It's been here.
I've been here. I've been here at the facility. Yes.
I'm curious with each episode, is there like this ramp up where the last few days are really stressful, or is it all kind of a steady, like what's kind of the build up to Tuesday's new episode? Does it get harder as the days progress?
I'd say so. Yeah, that like Thursday to Monday stretch gets tough. Just, we're hearing more because our editors are seeing more at that point. What things do they need to complete stories? Us pulling that off, accomplishing it, preparing for a game usually. Yeah. So that stretch into games and the turnaround of the games is definitely the most challenging.
Maybe a little exhale afterwards.
Definitely.
All right, Kaley, I think we've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little insight on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, and speaking of Hard Knocks, as we mentioned earlier, Derek Hall has been one of the stars of this show so far, and our very own Ari Horton had a nice interview with him earlier this week to talk about it.
This offseason, you signed an extension staying here. Why was it so important for you to be able to stay here in Seattle?
I love it here. I love the place. I love our organization. I love what we're building. A lot of people always spoke about, you could have got this, you could have got that. Like, that's not what it's about for me. Obviously, I love the game. I love what we're building. I love knowing what I'm getting when I'm coming to work every day. This work environment is great. The people here are great. So it was a factor for me.
You talked a little bit about building this defensive front as a whole. Played very, very well last season, returning most of the starters, minus one person, and then the addition of Dante Fowler. This defensive front, what do you see as the ceiling for you guys?
I don't think there is one, to be quite honest. I think where we were last year, and just to see how much greater we can be as a unit and as a whole and help this defense get where we're trying to go, I think there isn't a ceiling for us. Guys are coming out every single day, working their craft, working to get better, put themselves now not only as an individual but as a unit and also as a defense in the best position to win.
Building on what you guys were able to accomplish last season, what are some goals that you guys have for this season?
I think just to be the most dominant group on the field, and I think we kind of solidified that last year, but this year just taking it to a whole different level. I think to the extreme, and I think that's something that we live by. People, our normal his people extreme. So that's where we're trying to get, and that's where we're trying to grow.
I seen Jaron Reed the other day. He had on a shirt that said "Managers of Violence," and he said it has dark side on the back. Is that kind of the mindset that you all have on defense?
Oh, for sure. We got those shirts and we wear them. We wear them with pride, and we love it. I think everybody on defense side of the ball, from D-line, second level, third level, everybody, any chance you get to hit somebody, that's what we're going to do, and we're going to try to let you feel it and know it. So I think as a division as a whole, we come with violence, tenacity, and grit every single play.
So Hard Knocks. They've been around the building.
Yep.
They even shot a feature with you on your trucks. What was that like, being able to showcase what you like to do outside of football?
I think it's pretty cool, obviously, for me speaking, because everybody see us in this limelight, what we do every day, being a professional athlete, but they don't see a lot of the things that you do outside the game. So it's huge for me. Obviously, everybody know I got the YouTube. You can go there, see what I do with the trucks and different things like that. But I think it's a pretty cool feature just to show, not only our Seattle community, but the football world and people who enjoy watching the game a little bit of what guys do outside the ball, different things that they're into. So I loved it. It was pretty unique.
What was your favorite part of the segment that you guys shot?
I think just talking about the truck, like being able to say, I did this is what it took, this is how the build process goes, and where we were trying to get. So that was my favorite part.
Being in Seattle, maybe not as many cameras on the Seahawks. What exactly are you excited for Hard Knocks to be able to showcase, maybe about yourself or the team?
Speaking myself really don't matter. Everybody know who I am when I come to work, but I think speaking for the team, just our love, our connection, our camaraderie, and I think as a man, right, it's hard to say like you love someone or you care about this person. I think that's what we do here so well, like the connection, the camaraderie, how hard we play the game, the extremes we're willing to go to be able to go out and put ourselves in a position, again, to be better individual, which is also going to help the team in return. So I think just being around the building, showing who we truly are, being ourselves, being able to come out, have fun, communicate, stay loose and focused, play when we want to play, lock in when we need to lock in. So I think that's the biggest piece.
And that was Derek Hall, who's been one of the stars both in training camp and in Hard Knocks. And now we're 2 weeks into practice. Talk about what we've seen so far. Brian, I know you've been out here a few times. What are you liking about what you're seeing from Mike McDonald's team here in year 3?
Well, I love the efficiency. And I use that word, go back to FanFest this weekend. That was the most efficient, quick, in and out practice. You don't see Coach McDonald repeating a lot of things. You don't see him, hey, re-rack that play, as you see in a lot of coaches, and especially a lot of teams I've been on. It's things don't go right, things look a mess, especially in training camp, and coaches make you repeat it 2, 3, 4 times. But you don't see that with Coach McDonald. This team seems like they're on it. It seems like they're really on point with the little things, the details, and these practices out here are just ran so efficiently.
One thing Mike McDonald brought up early in camp is that he liked a lot what he was getting out of the defense, but he wasn't seeing some of the ball production he wanted. That's really turned over a lot. Pardon the pun, that was unintentional. That's changed a little bit the last couple practices where we've started to see, the interceptions coming up, a bunch of the safeties getting in on some of the linebackers, Nehemiah Pritchett. You obviously played against a very talented secondary when you were here in practice. What are you seeing out of this back end and what they're bringing to the table? Well,
there's just talent all over the place, and as we saw all last year, anyone can fill in at any time. You saw Julian Love get hurt last year. Well, here comes Ty Okada. Here comes someone to back him up. Same with Devin Witherspoon. Same with Eamon Mori. All these guys, this group is so cohesive that they can really fill anywhere, and I like that. And one thing I will give the defense a little shout out on right now is sometimes in training camp, turnovers are tough to come by for the defense, especially interceptions, because the tempo, you're just not quite sure. Do I attack this ball and risk a collision with the receiver or not? And a lot of the interceptions you see come from, popping the ball out after you hit. So it's good to see when a defense can start getting those turnovers even without the big hits, and that's what we've been seeing. They're really anticipating some of these Sam Darnold or Drew Lock throws. Not to mention a lot of turnovers come from getting to the quarterback, and you can't exactly hit the quarterback in these games as well. In terms of that, one thing I really have been focused on lately is the depth at safety that we've seen. Obviously, Nick Eamon-Warrior's been out. DeAnthony Bell has filled in. You mentioned Ty Okada. They bring in the youngster Bud Clark. Just what do you like about that position group and all the different things they can do? Well, they're ball hawks, first of all, but also they're not afraid to step up at the line of scrimmage and make a play. I was actually watching Bud Clark a lot at the Fan Fest on Saturday and just kind of following his movement. And it was a couple runs you saw him fill the gaps, take good angles, tag off on the running back, and you love that from a safety. A guy that can come downhill and not afraid to make a big hit, which I know there's no hitting, but you assume by the way he was tacking the ball that he's going to be able to come make plays on the running back, and that's what I love. I just love safeties that push downhill and attack the running game.
And one more safety to shout out to me is A.J. Finley. He's a guy that, we see him last year having a good camp. He's competing with Ty Okada for a pretty big role in that defense. And then, unfortunately, hurts his knee, serious injury in that football fest. Missed the season, back at Lumen Field for the first time, at least on the field since then, comes up with a pick. You've obviously played this game. You know how tough that is, especially he references, he's not a sure thing. He's not a guy who can get hurt and know he's got a job. What does it mean just from a personal level to see guys go through that and come back to the other side and have a big moment?
It's a battle. It is. As a player, to have your season ended on an injury and to have to watch an entire season from the sideline, going through rehab in the training room each and every day, trying to get back to your full self, because there's a confidence factor about that too. And you kind of come back and you say, man, am I going to be as explosive? Am I going to be able to jump as high? Am I going to see things how I saw them when I was fresh and healthy back? And so when you see a guy like A.J. Finley make an interception in FanFest, for his confidence, that says everything, because he's going, okay, I'm back and I can make these plays. I can jump on the ball like this, and I'm seeing things a little bit quicker. So as those plays start to pile up, you'll see the confidence in him start to pile up, and then more plays are to be made.
We heard from Devin Witherspoon yesterday, and he talked about, obviously he's potentially due for a new contract. He's out here, from day one, the first voluntary stuff where Mike McDonald told the veteran guys, you don't need to be here. He was here. He's practicing his butt off. I think the phrase I used the other day, he's practicing like a maniac, because that's just how he goes. Having seen the business side of this game, guys, maybe doing business things, which you can't really fault them for, trying to take care of themselves. What does that show a team when he's out here doing what he's doing?
To me, it shows individually that he loves football, that he just wants to be out here and he loves the game, and it shows in his play. And then as a team, as teammates, as when your star player, your star on your defense is out here, kind of, I wouldn't say contract disputes, but yeah, they're dealing with something there. But he shows that this team is more important than what goes on behind the scenes. I think it just sets the precedent. Now you have another guy that the same thing comes up. What are they going to do? They're going to remember, well, man, the leader of this defense, the star of this defense, didn't hold out when he didn't like what was going on. So now what am I going to do? I got to set the example as well. So I think that just shows everything to this culture that Coach McDonald has built, and just how these players just love each other and play for each other. I know we use that a lot, and it's almost a little bit of a cliche now, but you really see it out here. And Devin Witherspoon's the perfect example of that.
I don't know why we'd bring you on the show and not talk about receivers. So as a guy who has, been a receiver battling in camp, what guys do you like? I mean, there's obviously, we all know Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, but who are some of the guys that are catching your eye that are battling for spots?
Yeah, there's a few guys right on the back. I mean, we know our top four guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as easy as it gets, and we haven't had, I feel like the Seahawks haven't had a receiver room this concrete in a long time, in a while, in years. And so you have your top four guys, and you absolutely love where you stand there. I know Bobo's been injured a little bit. Can't wait for him to come back, but it's also opened up an opportunity for guys to get more reps. And maybe that you didn't know much about. And we all know Cody White. We know what he can bring. We've seen him make plays on the highest stage.
Every time he gets a shot.
Every single time. Athletic, big body, can play special teams. I was out here watching him in special teams. They were doing kickoff return blocks. And he had some of the best reps that I had seen out of the whole group. Just being able to be stout with his hands, hold the blocks, and the little things like that show a lot, because they can stick him in there anywhere. He can also return kicks. He was returning kicks. So Cody White, to me, is a guy that sixth spot is probably his to lose. Now, you've seen some guys step up. You have a Ricky White. We want to see him, what he did, the draft pick from last year. You want to see what he can do in preseason games. Montori Foster Jr. has had a heck of a camp, making plays every single day. Every day. Yeah, it's been fun. And so almost that's kind of a guy you think, well, maybe you need to chill a little bit so they can get him on the practice squad and be that all 70, right? You never know.
Shoot, we're live. We can't redact this part.
But it's just like it's a good problem to have when you have guys all over the place making plays like that.
Football Fest, fans got to come out. More fans. We get fans at practice, but more came out to Lumen Field, made some noise. As a player, what's the value in getting that extra day in your building with the fans, kind of more game-like situation?
To me, the value is for the young guys, mostly. The veterans, they've been there. They know what it is. The excitement is still there. But the young guys, I think for a team to have the most success, you got to get the young guys ready to play in that kind of environment. And you want them to go into preseason games feeling a little more confident, a little more familiar with where they're at. And some of these guys hadn't played in big stadiums like that, hadn't played in that kind of environment with the 12s screaming. Even at FanFest, they were there.
Yeah.
And so to give them that extra opportunity to play at that stadium sets them up. You want to see them at their best when it comes preseason this Saturday against the Cowboys, and how are they gonna perform? And since they've already had that extra time in the stadium, I think it just helps them be able to kind of get back to them what you'd expect for them, how they actually will play when the big lights are on.
Yeah, kudos to the fans. They brought it. I think we
did.
saw
It was fun.
Leonard Williams and Hard Knocks kind of like, whoa, they're making some noise. And you had a big Mariners game across the street. It's August in Seattle. There's a million things to do. So good for the fans who made it out. Couple quick injury notes to cover. Kind of one bummer and one good news. Robbie Oots had to get placed on injured reserve, the fullback who was a 2025 draft pick. So unfortunately, they have to move on this season without him. But some great news: Nicky Minwari, not quite all the way back yet, but he did pass his physical, clear that big hurdle. I mean, it goes without saying what he's meant to this defense. But as a player come back from injury, how big is just taking that step where, okay, I can run on it, I've been cleared?
I think they probably have had a really good plan from the beginning with this and where he's at, and he probably hasn't been worried. But I think from an outsider's perspective, from the fans, it's a big sigh of relief seeing him walking around and kind of just the demeanor that he's had, the same old demeanor, smiling, ready to go. And I have no doubt in my mind he'll be back 100%. So I think it was a good thing that they were able to clean up whatever the injury was or whatever was bothering him, and he'll get back there, and I don't think he'll miss a step. Excited to see what he can bring this season.
Yep. All right, we're going to shift our attention out of the offensive line before we dive into that group. Let's hear from the man helping coach that position. John Benton, the veteran offensive line coach, was mic'd up this week.
Here we go. Let's get you a partner. We'll get a couple catch-hand reaches right here. Real fast. Downhill at the target. Hit off that second step. Here we go. Let's run it. Let's give a great look on D. At least 3 steps of stretch and then a hard inside move. Here we go. On one. On one. Everything's on one. Wide 80. Wait, sit, hut. That's it. Press it. Lock it. We need more stretch, Bobby. He's going to play contain, then fall back in. Wide 80. Wait, sit, hut. There's a second step. That's what I'm talking about. Wide 80. Wait, sit, hut. There. Not bad. Who was that? Logan? Wide 80. Wait, sit, hut. Oh, I love it. I love it. Here we go. Let's back to the tackles. Wide 80. Wait, sit, hut.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen a position coach just so universally praised by his players, by his head coach as John Benton. I mean, what he's done in the last year plus since he's been here to help transform that group has been really special.
Well, we all remember what it was two years ago.
Yeah.
And how kind of a mess that offensive line was, and you didn't know who was playing which position. I think they had all kinds of combinations throughout the season, 50 or 60 sacks allowed, and to just cut that number in half as they did last year, just pretty impressive. And when they hired John Benton, that was – you don't really hear a lot about position coaches when they get hired, but that was one that made a splash. And everyone talked about him. Like, this guy is the real deal. He can change this whole culture, this whole just the mindset that this offensive line has.
Absolutely. And now, you mentioned the improvement they made last year, and now you got all 5 starters back. Not just starters, but a lot of the key depth guys, the key backups are also back. Like, I mean, you've been around plenty of good offenses. What does that do for an offense when you know you can rely on these 5 guys to be cohesive and play at a high level together?
Well, first of all, it's unheard of that every single person in that position room is back.
Especially for a defending champ. Like, usually you get rated when you're the Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone, including the backups, everyone's back. You add a draft pick, you add a free agent signing, and I believe Bobby Hart, and you have yourself a quite the position group there with so much experience now. And so the 5 guys, I think last year was just the perfect example of what a unit can do when they stay relatively healthy and together the whole season. Because I think one big aspect to that was Abe Lucas.
Yeah.
You had Abe Lucas for the entire year, and he did not look like he had any lingering effects from that injury the past year.
Yeah.
And I think that was the big thing. You know what he can do on that right side of the offensive line and how he's just a pillar there. Him and Charles Cross, you have your stables, your posts right there on the edge. So it's a fun cohesive unit.
Yeah, I mean, to get both your starting tackles in one draft, to be like long-term starters, crazy work by John Schneider there. And I mean, so many good drafts last 4 years, but to get both those guys. And you're right. I mean, I think Abe Lucas is a guy that his absence 2 seasons ago was probably not as big a story as it should have been. Like, he means so much to that group. So when he was out, they struggled a little bit, and getting him back healthy was huge for them. And then, we talked continuity. One of the new guys last year, Gray Zabel.
Yeah.
Great rookie season, even though, he's probably the hardest guy on himself. He's got that self-deprecating gene that he's going to be hard on himself. Yeah. But, man, what do you like about his game, and where can he go after such an impressive rookie year?
What I loved about his game, and still do, is you never would have thought he was a rookie. The way he came in, the confidence he brought, the way he picked everything up very quickly. When you watch tape, when you saw him on the field, that you couldn't tell that he was new to this. You thought he'd been in the NFL for 10+ years. The way he blocked, the blocks he made, the way he can get around the edges, the way he moves. I think that's the fun part. And then just overall, just talking to him, he really does carry a confidence to him that you want in your offensive lineman. You want guys walking around and having that kind of that personality to him. I think that is just very, very valuable. So now we're talking the middle of the offensive line and how now the 2 pillars on the outside, you have a guy like Gray Zabel in the inside, and this offensive line's rolling.
And his college teammate starting next to him. I remember talking to those guys the week of the Super Bowl, and I'm like, you guys, how cool this is? You're just, you lived in a house together in college, being college kids, and now you're about to run out of this tunnel for the Super Bowl.
And not only that, it's the fact that you don't even see teammates from Alabama necessarily playing next to each other. And then we're from North Dakota State. And so that's just pretty impressive to that program, just to have 2 guys that are blocking next to each other on the exact same team. It's very, very rare.
And then the one starter we haven't mentioned, Anthony Bradford. I think a guy maybe we've seen the most progress from. I know, fans unfortunately are a little harder on him than is deserved, but he also did some really good things last year. I mean, there's a reason he's a starter for a Super Bowl winning team, and he's having a great camp. And I think, coaches love what they've been seeing teammates do. To see a guy kind of have that growth and maturity, what does that show you?
I think that he got a bad rap, as you mentioned.
For sure.
I think the film and some of these plays that you see just get accentuated a little bit, when you're zoomed in on them. And they don't. What I would love is to every bad play you saw that was on social media, whatever it was, let's show all the good ones. The pancakes, when he absolutely bulldozes people, and he is tough to move in that middle, and he's a good guy to have there because he can handle some of those big D tackles.
Absolutely, it is a little unfair with offensive linemen. Like, you can find tough plays for any lineman, and unfortunately, some people have cut those up for him. But we're gonna move on to the running backs and the guys who are gonna be running behind this line. But first, a fun moment from Hard Knocks was the new running backs coach, Tom Hammock, and a guy that Mike McDonald knows well and has worked with and seen progress as a coach.
I think you had worked with Thomas Hammock before.
Yeah.
What do you like about his coaching?
He's got the best laugh ever. So when you get him going, you can hear him throughout the office. But I mean, we were close. He taught me a lot. When we were together in Baltimore, his first year in the league was my first year as an intern coming in. I think it was at Wisconsin before. He taught me a lot about protection. So I was in his office all the time, just, hey, what if we did that? What if we did this? How would it affect it? And so we kind of bonded that way. And then he also told me to marry my wife, which was cool. So I got my head on straight for that. And then just like we've stayed in touch since he's been in Northern Illinois. I think what he's done as a head coach is pretty remarkable. So having all those things, the head coaching experience, the toughness, the expertise, the ability to connect, like the mindset of how we want to. I think all those things are aligned with what we want. So he's been a tremendous asset so far. I'm really excited about it.
Hammock was one of the stars of episode 1. I think if you asked every player their favorite part, it was watching him drop a few too many F-bombs, give a little shimmy shake for the team. It was a good time. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that this guy's been a head coach at a high level. He's done a lot of good things, and now he's leading a group that's maybe one of the most intriguing position groups in camp just because of the loss at that position with Kenneth Walker moving on in free agency. I know right now we haven't seen a lot of Jadarian Price the last few days because of injury, but what do you like about this group? What have you seen so far when you look at these running backs?
Well, first off, going back to Coach Hammock, as a running back, watching your coach do a little shimmy shake that you saw on Hard Knocks, you have no excuse. You got to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign moving forward for these guys. But I think this running back group, one thing we see is the depth, and we didn't think that was going to be the case coming into this year. You lose K9, Charbonnet on PUP right now, and you're kind of like, man, who's going to fill in? Who's going to step up? But you now go through the list of names that you have on this roster, and you have guys with some experience. I think the one guy that really sticks out to me is Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah.
We saw him kind of, I think, for the mostly full speed at FanFest for the first time. Man, he's got a burst to him.
Yeah.
I really like what he brought.
Yeah, you kind of, the reputation coming in, and just you look at the height and weight, and you think he's going to be the big bruiser, kind of the complimentary, just short yardage type guy. But he does, when he hits that hole, he can move, and he talked about that after the football fest. So, like, hey, I can run. I got some speed too, and he likes to show that off. So, yeah, I mean, George Halani was sort of the one guy we knew coming back, just really solid. Coaches can trust him to do anything. Great pass protector. He can be the third down guy. But also, he's really good. He can bounce it outside, make some big plays happen. And, the depth pieces are there. And then I think the most intriguing guy, just because of where you draft him, is Jadarian Price. Again, I know he's been out for a few days now, but we saw in episode 1 of Hard Knocks how much the defense has been impressed with him. Yeah. When you watch him play, like, what jumps out to you?
It's the thing that we talked about him coming in here was, can he catch passes?
Yeah.
Is that a thing that he can do? And you go back to the film at Notre Dame, he had 15 catches in an entire career. He only had 18 targets.
Yeah.
Let's give him that credit. That's pretty good efficiency.
Pretty good ratio for a running back.
But then you go back to his senior year, he had, 5 catches, I believe, 2 of them for touchdowns, over 35 yards, and a 40-yard touchdown. So he's explosive out of the backfield. Now, unfortunately, he just had to play behind a guy named Jeremiah Love, who's also good.
Pretty good.
So he didn't really get the reps or the targets, I'd say, that he should have got. So he showed off his hands. He showed his ability to catch the deep ball. I think he's going to be a very, very valuable weapon out of the backfield, receiving-wise, because you saw what Brian Fleury and the 49ers did with Christian McCaffrey when Brian Fleury was there as a tight ends coach. And you would think that he'd bring that same kind of target share to the running back room as well.
It is always fascinating with players coming out of college. Like, sometimes it's like they just didn't get asked to do something. It could be a receiver with a certain route tree. Maybe they're playing in an offense that just had limited route tree, or like you said, running backs catching passes, or maybe it can be something with a defensive back where it's like they get this reputation of, they don't do this, and turns out no, they weren't asked to. And he's showing, like you said, he's showing in camp. He can catch the ball. He can be a weapon out of the backfield. In terms of the depth behind those guys, is anyone, that's kind of the clear top 3 right now until Charbonnet gets back. Anyone jumping out at you behind those guys?
I think you have a guy from last year, Jacardia Wright.
Yeah.
I think he's shown he can be he can fill in special teams, I think, is the big thing too. Yeah. Can he be a kick returner? Can he be that special teams guy? And that's what those guys are going to be. Anyone behind those top 3 guys we talk about, they're going to have to make their way on special teams. And you look at where they can be on kick returning or just lead blocking for Rashid Shaheed as that second guy in the backfield. So that's where we'll really keep an eye on for this preseason.
Yeah, and then in terms of like who's going to be, people want to know who's going to be the starter. To me, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see it as an offense where you're going to expect one of those 3 guys probably to carry the whole load. Like, they can use all 3 backs and maybe even more.
Yeah, I think the term or the visual of whoever starts the game in the backfield is the starter. It's kind of overplayed because we might see George Halani out there for the very first snap of the 2026 season.
Yeah.
But Jadarian Price might get 15 carries and George Halani gets 10. And so that's just going to be what we saw, and that's what we saw last year with Charbonnet and K9 too. I think it's going to be the exact same thing. And what we saw in that system is that it keeps guys fresh. Like, do you think Kenneth Walker has the finish he had last year?
Very true.
If they didn't split carries the entire season between Charbonnet and him, I don't think so. I think you get worn down as a running back and injuries can happen. But because of that rep share, he was able to make a huge finish in the end.
All right, we're going to wrap this up with a look at the tight end position, and let's hear from one of the leaders of that group, one of the young leaders of this whole offense, A.J. Barner.
That was unique for me. Surgery. Never had surgery before, so that was pretty crazy. I tried some Tai Chi this year. So I did a little Tai Chi out here in Seattle, and that was cool for me to do. I think, I like to try new things, experience new things, so Tai Chi was a new one I did.
Did it help you calm your mind?
It calmed my mind, and I was in a Zen state. I felt very, flow, and worked on my balance too, so it was cool.
I just love the idea of A.J. Barner in a Zen state. These tight ends are always – I've always felt like the tight ends are the most unique personalities, characters on the team. And, he's used past off seasons to do some more physical things to get prepared. He talked about doing MMA training, but this year it was coming off some surgeries to get things cleaned up. It was, a little more chill, a little more zen, do some Tai Chi. But yeah, I mean, he really has emerged as a great young player in this offense.
Well, I think most importantly, but most fun for all the fans is I think we've learned so much more about A.J. Barner through this offseason and his personality. We saw, the parade, for instance, the Super Bowl parade. He gets up there, grabs a mic, fur coat, and so I think his personality is really coming out, and he is definitely the leader of that tight end room. What I do love about him is he can do it all.
Yeah.
You ask him to block, he's stout in there. You ask him to make a big athletic play, well, he'll go out and he'll try to hurdle some guys. We've seen multiple times. So A.J. Barner is just the full deal, the full package, and this will be a breakout year for him. John.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I think so. It was funny last year. I remember Mike McDonald talking about. He brought this up multiple times, like how A.J. Barner talked about the player he wants to be and wanting to be great. And it wasn't something you hear from Mike McDonald a lot. Like it wasn't just hyperbole. And so it's interesting to see that this is a guy that has that belief in himself and emerged as one of the I'd call him one of the best young tight ends last year with the ceiling now of he can be one of the best all-around tight ends in the game. He's not going to be the field stretching 4-5 guy, but in terms of a guy that can do all these things that are required of that position, I think he could really step into that kind of elite territory this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned he's not going to be the field stretching tight end like maybe an Elijah Royal.
They got one. Yeah,
but he can still do it.
Yeah,
I think that's a big thing. You saw it in the Super Bowl. You saw or in the Rams game.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl.
And the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You saw him really stretch the defense, so he can do it when asked about. And then the other guy I'm excited about is Elijah Royal going into his second year. I think he's the guy to watch just to complement A.J. Barner on that other side.
Did you see that route he ran in that clip of Hard Knocks? I remember that took me to John Schneider talking about when they drafted him. This guy can almost play like an X receiver, and that you don't see tight ends do that.
You don't. I remember coming in here last year watching him as a rookie, and I go, man, who's this wide receiver number 18?
Yeah.
Who is that? Oh, that's the new tight end, and I think he's put on a little size for this season too. He looks fast and he looks stouter, so I think he'll have a big time breakout year for him because I know he was a little banged up last season, and it's tough as a rookie tight end. You're learning a lot. That's the thing people don't understand. You're learning the pass protection. You're learning run the routes. You got to do it all.
Yeah, that position is tough.
Yeah, see, I was lucky as a wide receiver, right? Pass protection, what's that?
Yeah.
So these guys come in, have to learn every single aspect of the offense. So Elijah Royal in year 2, I believe, will just really setting himself up to have a good season.
I feel like the number 18 has been in my notebook more than just about any other at practice the last few days. So, yeah, it's a fun group. And then, got great veteran depth and a guy like Eric Saubert. You bring in Nick Vanette. Nick Collerup's a guy we didn't really talk about a lot, but he's a big physical presence. I think he's a guy that could find a role as well. So it's a very exciting position group. I really like what they have there. So we're going to wrap things up here. We'll be back with you next Wednesday, August 19th, after episode 3 of Hard Knocks. There's also going to be a Seahawks preseason game to talk about. They open their preseason here at Lumen Field Saturday. You can catch that on Seattle Sports and Cairo News Radio and watch it on King 5. Make sure you download the official mobile app of the Seattle Seahawks to stay up to date on all things related to the team on and off the field. Finally, to go out, we're going to send you out with a little fun with A.J. Barner, who we just talked about. Went to Australia this offseason and went to the zoo. Why not? A.J. Barner at the zoo. Good way to go out. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, John.
Australian zoo? Best zoo in the world, apparently. It's like some Dijon mustard you're getting.
It looks like Dijon mustard. You see it right in front of her nose and she'll smell it.
It does tickle a little bit.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Let's go. Her little claws, too, I feel them. The koala was sick. Dude, the koala was so sick.
Welcome to Manly Seagulls.
I'm extremely excited to be here tonight, watch some rugby, and maybe learn some things from my football game as well. I want to see one of the pills. Can I get a toss real quick? Thank you. Hey. A little different than the American football. I think Darnold could still sling this, though.